All right, well, good morning, everyone, and welcome. I'd like to call the school board workshop meeting to order at this time. It's Tuesday, April 21st at 9:30. I would like to make a note that Vice Chair Atkinson is joining us by phone. Hope you can hear us, Wendy, loud and clear.
I sure can. Thank you.
Well, thanks for joining us. Normally, I would be handing it over to Vice Chair Atkinson, but since she's joining us by phone, I'll go ahead and take care of it. If that's okay with you, Vice Chair?
Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, let's go ahead and get started. I'd like to invite Zach and Marcus up. If you would join us right up here, please. All right. Well, thank you for joining us. You're here to give us a quick summary or recommendation from the IROBAC committee on the potential of releasing some of the reserve fund from the referendum. So if you would like to go and get started.
Sure. We reviewed the proposal given to us by the school board. Basically, it was a mixed review from everyone on IROBAC.
I can't hear you guys.
Oh, can you hear me now, Wendy?
Can you move down here, Zach?
Sure.
That might be better.
Thank you.
No problem. Can you hear me now?
I absolutely can.
I'll try to put on my best radio voice. So the IROBAC met. We reviewed the proposal put in front of us. We had a lot of mixed reviews, and we didn't really have an amazing consensus. What we would like to do is study further, and we'd also like to get some direction from the school board. There was two main lines of questions that we kind of came back to is one, yes, you have the reserves, you have full right to use it as you wish. There's nothing we can do about it. As long as you use it for referendum dollars, it is available for spending. That brought us one question. One question was, well, specifically, how much are we supposed to have in reserves? In our head, when we listen to it and we lay it out, Marcus could correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's 38 million for a year, or is it 35? Approximately. So 8 million isn't really taking you anywhere. And the referendum comes up for vote this November. To be honest, if it doesn't get voted in, you're gonna use the money anyway. But if it gets voted in, the question would be, in 4 years, would you have enough to propel yourself for 1 year? And then what do you do after that year? So our question was, are you trying to get to a certain point where you can cover a year's worth of expenses? Or what's the overall goal? And we didn't really, we bantered back and forth between each other about what we think the potential or what you guys might be wanting to do, but we didn't know that answer. The other side of it is you could set a minimum where, you do the 10%, but then that comes back to the question of, are you taking a 10% every year and that compiles on top of, or is that 10% the minimum you keep in there? And that left mixed reviews. So what we would like to do is review it further with some insight from you guys, like what do you think should happen? We do agree that we think it should be, and we didn't have a recommendation, but we kind of all base agreed that we think there should be some rules set for how the reserves are maintained, if there are, and then we know how they're spent, right? But we didn't really have any rules to go by, and we weren't really 100% sure what you guys were trying to go after. Does that make sense? So it left a lot more questions than it did answers, and I think we meet back on May 19th. Thank you. I'm terrible with times and dates. At least I'm honest.
Well, it may not be a budget by then, so we may be okay.
Yeah. But that was the general consensus. We didn't have, I mean, our answer was, yeah, we'd like to do something, but we didn't really have a set answer. And we'd like some direction back. And sorry to throw it back on you, but that's the reality of what the meeting was.
Well, no, we appreciate you getting the committee together. It was sort of a last minute kind of meeting, so it's good that those conversations have been started. And we look forward to continuing those conversations. So it sounds like the recommendation of the committee is really not to look at releasing any of the reserve funds at this point, with the possibility of having conversation going forward.
Yeah, we weren't really set on, we think that you should build, in our, we all kind of came to the idea of, hey, if this went away, we don't have enough money to sustain. But then you also go into the question of, well, is a year enough? Is 2 years enough?
Correct.
Is 3 years enough? Like, when's the reserve too big, right? Because that happens too. So we didn't really have that direction, and it might be easier. There was no specific function of how the reserve will be fueled. Like right now, Marcus, you can correct me, please. I think the 8 million that's there is there, but every other dollar is already spoken for. So if you said, well, we want to increase the reserve now, that would mean Marcus would have to find money someplace and come up with that money, which is, we also, well, that's not fair because you've already had things spoken for and teachers paid for out of those funding and programs. It's not fair to take those away suddenly. So where we really would like to go is a more defined role of what the reserves will be, how it will be fueled. So for Marcus's side of the equation, and I don't mean to speak for you, Marcus, but you're there, so here we are. I think if he had a mechanism where he said, okay, well, we've got 38 million from the referendum fund, and I have to pull 10% as a number. I'm not saying what it's gotta be, obviously. Then he knows that he can't touch 10%, and that 10% goes to reserve. And then when you say, hey, how much is in reserve, it's a really easy equation. Well, we got 3.8 million this year, blah, 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 and it trickles forward. But there's really no function set, nothing in the rules or guidance. So we don't really have well, you should do this because we don't have it. But
Yeah, the way it's
we'd like to
written
help
now
you
is-
set it,
yeah.
if that makes sense. If it, like,
That was a big part of the conversation that did everybody here listen to the meeting? Yes.
Yes,
am I wrong in anything? Because if you think, if
No,
you took it
I-
another way, talk to me, I'm
One
not.
of the things I heard from the committee is that the need for a policy, like to actually spell it out in writing.
Yeah.
What the referendum reserve policy is.
And how it's fueled, I think, is number 2.
And I didn't hear anybody in the committee that would be in favor of reducing the reserve from 8 million to 3.8 million.
No one was really for it. But at the same token, I got a sense that, well, if you need it and you gotta do something, we understand it. But at the same token, we felt like, the sense that I got was that you were going backwards by doing it. And the other question that came up was, okay, you take the 4 million away, how do you get that back? Where does it come from next year? And we just didn't know the answer, so I think that left more holes for us where we just didn't know, like, it might increase next year, but by how much? And those are all questions we don't know.
Yeah.
By the rate that the county grows, that referendum dollar should keep growing at a rate. I don't know what that rate is though.
The notes I took from the meeting, and Mr. Smith spoke very strongly on some of the issues, and he obviously is an accountant with municipal accounting experience, and some of the things that he questioned was, is 10% enough given accepted financial standards? And I know that he discussed with Marcus what the Government Financial Officers Association recommends. He also asked if the funds were gonna be used for something recurring, in which case he was very forcefully against using the reserve funds for recurring expenses, based on his own recommendation and based on the recommendations of the Government Financial Officers Association. So based on what I heard from that meeting, I'm not in favor of moving forward with changes to policy 6233 at this time.
Yeah, and I listened and I also read through the transcript and I think you guys had some good conversation, but I also could tell that there were still some questions how to move forward, but I think this is a good starting point on, reserve fund is a reserve fund, so, how do you create a policy on how to use a reserve fund? So how much is enough and how much should we, carry over, going forward? Those are good conversations that we need to have and to make sure that we're using taxpayer money, responsibly
Right.
for the students that as it was intended, so.
And that kind of came up along, okay, let's say the reserve fund was 2 years worth over time. Then you go up for a vote and the voters go, they got $60 million just sitting there.
Right.
They won't spend it. Well, now they're not gonna vote for the referendum and now we have to. So like, you know what I mean? So
That's kind of where I'm
There's a
sitting
lot
at
of-
too, yes.
there's a lot of back and forth about it. And if you don't get the referendum, you don't, like, there's no other quick, hey, let's snap our fingers and do this. Like, there's no good pivot point for you guys.
No, there's
Just
no
terrible.
golden goose to lay an egg for us.
No, that's my point. Like, you can't just make the dollars appear from nowhere. You're not like a business where you can go, okay, you're a marketing, go out and get some sales. Like, it doesn't,
Yeah.
you guys don't have that ability. It's terrible.
And, you know, everyone that's tuning in, I mean, we're in a good situation. I mean, it's good that we have that reserve fund. And going forward, you know, we'll continue to have good, positive, fund balance and that's good money management. But it's just that little piece that we still have a question about and what we should be able to go forward and do. So good conversations and, you know, we appreciate what the committee has come up with and
Do you guys have marching orders for us, other than?
Well, we'll probably talk about here in a little bit.
yeah.
So you
Let us know.
Yes, yes. Any other questions, Kara?
And just thank you, Zach, to the entire committee, to meet on that short notice and give us, this is much needed input from the people that are.
I don't think there's anybody on the committee who's not willing to try to help. I think the thing that we just didn't know which way you wanted us to push.
Gotcha.
Or which angle you wanted us to take it from. So I think everybody there kind of took it from the business perspective of, hey, I'm in a business, I need reserves, that's how I function.
The last thing we wanted was us to try to direct you to, we wanted you to tell us.
What I mean by direction is like, what part of the policy did you want us to tackle? That's what I mean. I know you're not gonna tell us because we're independent. I get that. That probably came out wrong. I just mean like, what part of it are you looking for more shaping for? And that's where we could help better.
I mean, I think based on our conversation 2 weeks ago, not last month, 2 weeks ago, I think you guys gave us a lot of information already. I don't know that I feel comfortable with the information from what I listened to the meeting, what I gathered from y'all, where you stand on these things. So I don't know that I have more.
You do feel comfortable?
I'm comfortable with the information
Okay.
from, I don't know that we need them to continue tackling this. I feel like they gave us the answer we were looking for already.
But we
Yeah.
needed to look
Yeah.
at giving them
And that's
more guidance
fine,
and
too.
policy for
We're
how
here for
they're
y'all.
supposed to.
Yeah, and I do, I mean, part of the conversation you guys had in increasing that, I do know that's you know, that's not, from my perspective, not something that I would like to see going forward, but, those are conversations you guys can have in the future and stuff, so, any other questions? Zach, do you have any more questions for us?
I don't have any questions, but I did want to give Zach and the entire committee a big shout out and thank you for pulling together that mess.
No problem.
Okay. So going forward, I think we're at a point now, I mean, as far as accepting the recommendations from the Harold Back Committee, we're good with that, or? Yeah.
So I think let's make sure that we're clear on what the recommendation is, because they didn't put it in writing, but what I heard at that committee is that they're not in favor of reducing the reserves or spending the
Yeah.
referendum reserves, and if anything, we should have further conversation about potentially
Increasing.
increasing the percentage of reserves.
And how it's funded.
And I would say instead of using the word reducing, releasing, not releasing any of that reserve fund, so,
However you want to frame it.
very good. Wendy, anything else?
No, I'm good.
Okay, there was something else I wanted to say, but I.
John, I can't hear you.
There was something else I wanted to say, but it went away. Maybe it'll come back. All right, thank you, Zach. We
Thank you.
appreciate your
Thank you.
time and effort and stuff like that, and we'll
Thank you.
continue to have more conversation. All right, so for the sake of our listeners and maybe some listeners or people tuning in who are new to the community, who really don't have a lot of information when it comes to the referendum, Mark, could you take a moment to just kind of review how the referendum money is used and how much of an impact it has had on on the community as far as the district and what that would mean if it was to go away.
Sure, be happy to. So for those who are listening, Ms. Smith has put together a very concise one-page document that is attached to Board Doc. So I'll give a high-level verbal overview here shortly. But if you would like to refer back to that document, it is very good. And if you're looking for something more thorough than that, then I would direct our listeners to our website. So if you go to our website's homepage and you look underneath departments, you can tab down to business services. And then underneath business services, you'll see a link that says IROBOC. And so once you get to there, you can see all of our past presentations. You can see the minutes to every meeting that we've had. There are PowerPoints that our CFO has delivered. The minutes as far as what the conversation is. So that is a very, very detailed and very thorough history of the conversations that the committee has had. So, but here's the high level overview. Our referendum brings in roughly $38 million. That's what we're anticipating for the upcoming year, and that is channeled into 11 different quality initiatives. And I'll break those down into two broad categories. From a student perspective and how that's supported our students and how it's supported our faculty. So from a student perspective, and board, we talk about this all the time, it starts with safety. And so the referendum helps fund our school resource officers, it helps fund our security guards, it funds things like our camera systems and so many things that is attached to the concept and how we are protecting not only our students, but our staff and all the visitors that come onto campus as well. So supporting our safety initiatives is always priority. In addition to protecting our students, we have an additional 30 minutes of instruction every day that is supported by the referendum. We also have the support of concepts like art and music. And this is that time of year when we're all going out to different events and seeing how our wonderful students are performing our magnificent programs. The instruments that they are playing and the repairs of those instruments are all supported by the referendum. And then board, you all will remember this, the pay to play for athletics. Prior to the referendum, I believe families had to pay $100 if their student participated in one sport. It was $120 if they participated in two, and if they participated in three sports, they had to pay $200. All that has gone away because of the support of the referendum. So a lot of positive things, and I'll cap it off by adding workforce. Our CTE programs are funded or supported in part by referendum, certainly our aviation programs, and that money is used or potentially used to support all of our career and technical or various career and technical programs. So our students get a lot of benefit out of the annual dollars that come in. From a staff perspective, board, you have worked extremely hard to keep our salaries, the employee salaries competitive. And so starting teacher pay, it's in the top 10 of the state, likely to be higher. I believe it's at $58,000 is what our beginning teachers get paid. The recruitment and the retention of our staff because of the referendum dollars is significant. We talk about this all the time, talent wins. And so supporting our employees and teachers is significant, as well as paying, I believe it is approximately 90, I think the exact number is 91 employees that the referendum helps fund. So should that money go away, then everything that I just described will happen in reverse. We will have to pull things away from state safety. We will have to eliminate the half an hour of additional instruction every day. Go back to pay to play. Our arts and music programs will have a significant impact. The dollar amount that we're paying our first year teachers would likely drop to under $50,000. And so the impact of the funds, we use them to support our programs and support our students. Should that money go away, it would be a significant impact for us.
Thank you. Thank you for that.
Can I ask real quick?
Go ahead, Wendy.
Okay, I just wanted to add that of that 38 million, though, 4 million of that comes right off the top for our charter schools. For their portion of the referendum dollars.
Thank you, Wendy. Anyone else? No? No? Like I said, it has tremendous impact on our district and our community and the future of our kids. And, you know, the community has rallied around it the last couple times with what, I think 70% positively voting for that. So, be on the lookout for more information on that. All right, any other comments or questions? All right, with that, I adjourn this meeting. Thank you very much.